Hello everybody, hope you're all doing well. Thank you very much for tuning into today's video. Today I wanted to talk about something that I think is kind of frustrating, but something that's really important for people to know, and I don't think people don't talk about enough. This kind of thing is not going to be super applicable for those of you from outside of New Zealand, so feel free to keep watching, but I'm sorry this information might not be as useful to you. The information that we're going to be talking about is why it is so hard to find hang-on bag filters. You might have noticed they're a bit harder to come across or get your hands on at the moment, unless you look in the second-hand market or like in the clearance departments of like an Animates or something. And I thought I'd just take a minute to kind of explain to you why that is and what might happen going forward. So I hope this is useful to you, and thank you very much for watching. The first thing I thought we would discuss is what actually is a hang-on bag filter. So this is a hang-on bag filter here. I'm using this one just to grow plants and stuff out of it, but normally it would be filled up. Move leaf. Normally it would be filled up to like this kind of area here with your biological and mechanical media. So like things like your Seachem matrix, filter wool, filter sponges, all that kind of stuff. So you can see there's a little bit in here, but mostly it's just plant roots, but that's what we're normally referring to. And it hooks, you can see here, it's hooked over the edge of this tank. If I lift that, it might be easier to see, but it's like hooked over the edge of the tank, and it's taking water out of the tank through this uptake, which is this part here, and then it's passing through this media on the outside, and then it kind of waterfall cascades back down into the actual aquarium itself. This one here is kind of going inside of the dual filter built in, but doesn't necessarily have to. It can go straight in, like straight into the aquarium. So talking about hang-on bag filters, that's what we're talking about. There's different ones, like different brands and stuff, like the Seachem Tidal. There is the Fluval Aqua Clears. There's probably more, but those are probably the two most common ones. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about a hang-on filter. So as I mentioned at the start, it is at the moment quite hard to find them, and I don't foresee it becoming any easier really, to be honest. To find them brand new, it's a problem for me as a retailer. I don't know if it's quite hit the kind of impacted the market as of yet, because there's still enough around where like someone like an Animates has bought them 2 years ago and they haven't sold them yet. So you can still kind of find them, especially the Seachem ones. But they are getting harder to get, and they are only going to get harder. At the moment, they're not available to us. The Fluval ones apparently have been stopped. The Aqua Clears, I mean. The Seachem ones have been stopped. The only real ones are the Marina ones and the Aqua One ones. Both of those are pretty bad. They're kind of just junk. I mean, to be perfectly honest, they suck. So, in terms of good ones, they're not around. I think the main reason for it is kind of a little bit something we don't quite think about. So the main reason is that most tanks you find in New Zealand are what they call Eurobraced, and this is what Eurobracing is here. So there's like this part here that stops the glass flexing, but what that means is it stops the hang-on bag being able to fit on. So this is one of the Fluval hang-on bag breeder boxes here I'm using for plants. It is air powered, but it's the same idea as a filter where it doesn't fit over any of the braces. So I set it on here to drip over. I wouldn't do this if I was you. It's gonna leak, but it's fine for me because I can keep on top of it because I'm always here. But if there was in my house, I wouldn't want it there. So it doesn't fit because we have these Eurobraces, these glass sort of strips right here, which means that it doesn't like, it'll go like to there, but it can't fit across to there and then go down where it would normally sit. For the most part, there is some where it will, but for the most part, they're not going to fit. So hang-on bag filters are sort of an American thing, I have noticed. Like it's very popular in America. We in New Zealand watch a lot of American like YouTube and fish Reddit and like forums and stuff. So a lot of our information has an American sort of tinge to it, which is fine. I mean, I don't care. But the problem is in America, they get what they call, well, for the most part, they get frame tanks is what they called them. So a frame tank is like this one here, I'll show you. So this is a frame tank here, or a trim tank, or whatever they call it, where the bracing is done with this plastic strip thing, basically. I mean, this is way oversimplified and this might not be the best example of it, but this plastic trim around the top stops the tank from flexing. So it goes around the top and acts the same way. I don't know, it's in like tank designs where the Americans get the frame tanks. There's another example where there's this trim around it, and so what that does is the bracing. But we in New Zealand mostly get the Eurobrace tanks, particularly when you get even to like this size here of like a 150 litre. Even smaller, even like a 70 litre is all going to be like the smaller equivalent of Eurobraced, which basically makes it a lot harder to be able to fit an hang on back like an Aquaclear. And then comes the sort of simple and unfortunate reality of the situation, and that is that we quite simply don't sell enough hang on backs in New Zealand, or we don't buy enough hang on backs in New Zealand for it to be worthwhile for a distributor of Seachem or of Fluval to bring them in. So what that means is, you know, that space on that in that container that's going to get taken up by X number of boxes of Seachem Title 35s, but we're not going to sell them. Or we can pack another box of the Seachem Prime, everyone uses Prime, and actually make our money that way. And so what that unfortunately means is the titles and the Aquaclears have been sort of end up being cut from New Zealand, which is a shame because I think they do have their purpose, their applications and their purpose, but it just means that it's harder for us to get them if you want them. Our only options are the Marina ones, which I want to like them, but honestly they're not very good. They kind of just fall to bits easily. The impeller sucks, the motor sucks, and the Aqua One ones, which they also suck. The way that it is, the water doesn't actually flow through the media, it kind of just skims over the top essentially, which is obviously not good. You want the water to go through the media, so we are kind of stuck without hang-on backs, or with very limited ones, where the cheapest chip ones, that is like your Marina and your Aqua One, we are able to get, but not some of the better quality ones, unfortunately. And so I have had a few people come in saying, why can't I find any Fluval Aquaclears around? They're so hard to get. And I mean, the reason is because it's not worthwhile enough, unfortunately, for people to get them into New Zealand. Because all our tanks are Eurobrace, they're not going to sell. You might sell some, but not enough. So it makes it a little bit harder for us here in New Zealand if you're someone that's wanting to use them. And I mean, I'm a big fan of hang-on backs. I really like them. If I was wanting to filter a small tank, I would 100% hang-on backs would be the one I'd definitely go for. The Seachem ones in particular, I love the Seachem ones, but it's unfortunately off the table for us. With this video, I wanted to be very careful that it didn't become a bit of a like complaint fest about, oh, people don't buy it so we can't sell it. I mean, to be honest, I couldn't care less. I mean, if people are filtering it with canisters instead of hang-on backs, I don't like, it's no skin off my back. But I just wanted it to be a bit of a explanation as to why they're not available and why it's a little bit hard with the American information we get when a lot of our tanks are built differently, which means that the preferred equipment probably isn't as functional as a lot of the other ones. So yeah, I mean, that's basically what I was wanting to talk about and kind of explain to you people. If you do want a hang-on back, what I would recommend is if you go to like your local animators and pet stocks and stuff like that, oftentimes you'll find them in the discounted section for like, you know, I got a Title 35 semi recently for like 50% off or something like that, because they'd obviously had it for a while, and once they've had it for a while, they just want to get rid of it. It's just dead money sitting there. But I mean, if you're watching this video in 6 months time, you'll probably have some trouble with that. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of just why we're not able to get the hang-on back so easily, and why they maybe aren't as good a solution as it's presented in a lot of other contexts. So yeah, I mean, I hope that kind of clarifies that for a lot of people, and I hope it makes a bit of sense. I would like to, yeah, just if you've made it this far, I'd just like to ask that you please like and subscribe. A bit of a shameless plug, but if you could do that, that would really help me out. I am really enjoying making these videos for you guys, so I hope you enjoy it. And the other thing I wanted to say is, if you have any things that you particularly would like me to talk about, feel free to let me know on the comments, or like message me, or come in the shop and tell me. Again, I'm more than happy to kind of just do whatever I do, but you know, I obviously want it to be good for you guys and enjoyable for you guys. So if you have anything you'd like to see me talk about, please feel free to reach out and let me know, and I will do my best to cover it. I did get asked a couple questions like about super in depth on like corridor and that, and I probably won't make those videos, at least not yet, just because I don't feel like I'm enough of an expert. But general aquarium stuff, African stuff, monster fish stuff, American stuff, hit me up. So yeah, that's about all I had for today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.